Today on CJ Off-Road, we're going to show you how to slightly lift the rear of your Silverado to make it haul and tow better. If you haul or tow heavy loads with your Silverado, the rear end can sag, making it unsafe and handle poorly. So today we're going to make the Silverado a whole lot better by installing the Zone Off-Road Add-A-Leaf Kit. This is Zone Off-Road's rear Add-A-Leaf Kit designed to fit the 1999 to 2018 Silverado and Sierra 1500. This kit comes with two add-a-leaves to lift the rear of your truck about an inch for improved hauling and towing. They're designed to be thin for a smooth and comfortable ride, and they come with everything you need for installation. For more information and pricing, click the link in the description down below. Now let's get to the install. Tools you'll need for this installation: a lift and a transmission jack or a jack and jack stands, 13mm socket, 3/8 ratchet, 21mm socket, 1/2 ratchet, a torque wrench, 13mm wrench, a pair of vice grips, a hammer, and 2 large C-clamps. This Add-A-Leaf kit is mainly to prevent squatting, but it is going to slightly lift the rear of your truck, so we're going to get a base measurement here to see how much it actually does lift the truck. Right now, from the ground to the fender, we're at 36.5 inches, so we'll put the Add-A-Leaf kit on and then see where we are. Okay, we have the truck up in the air. We took both rear wheels off. Now we're going to disconnect the 2 parking brake hangers right here. These brackets are only on the driver's side, and you're going to remove them with a 13mm socket. The second bolt is more towards the front. Remove this one as well. On the driver's side as well, we have to remove this brake line bracket. It's on top of the frame, secured with 2 13mm bolts. Once both bolts are removed, you can take the bracket from off the top of the frame and move it down below. This will give us some slack for when we drop the rear end. Now we're going to support the rear end with a transmission jack. If you don't have a transmission jack, you can use jack stands. With the differential supported, we're going to remove the shocks from the differential with a 21mm socket and wrench. And then remove the other shock. We can now loosen the U-bolts on the driver's side of the axle. They're a 21mm nut. Remove the shackle and then the U-bolts. We will be reusing these, so set them aside. Now we're going to lower our axle away from the leaf spring. Remove the U-bolt plate from the top of the leaf spring and then also the block. For this next part, you need 2 large C-clamps. You need these because we need to clamp the spring so when we take it apart, it doesn't explode and damage you or the spring. Place a clamp on each side of the pin that's in the middle of the leaf spring. We can now remove the 15mm nut on top of the pin that holds the leaves together. You might want to put a vice grip on the bottom of the pin just so it doesn't spin on you. The C-clamps can now slowly be loosened to separate the springs. Now when you do this, make sure that you keep them in order and properly orientated just so that they get reinstalled properly. On some applications, there might be a locating pin for the bottom 2 leaves. If you do have that locating pin, remove it, you won't need it. Place the provided shim on top of the lower factory leaf, then install your Add-A-Leaf on top of that shim. To install this center pin, just slide the 2 lower leaf springs in front or behind of the axle, and then you can slide the pin up, and then put it back on top of the axle. We're going to raise the differential now to get this new center pin through the top 2 leaves. This middle leaf actually can slide a whole lot, so when you go to reinstall this pin, make sure everything is lined up. You might have to slide it around to get the hole lined up. Now we're going to keep it in place with this C-clamp while we lift the axle. With the center pin through all the leaves, we're going to clamp it together so we can put the nut on. Once you get the leaves and plates properly clamped together, you can install the nut onto the center pin. Then you can torque the nut to 30 foot-pounds. Now we can remove the C-clamps, and then we're going to install the block under the leaf spring. Reinstall your block, and then lift up the axle to mate it up with the center pin. With the block installed and lined up, we can reinstall the U-bolts. Place this piece on the center pin like so, and drop in your U-bolts. Then you can attach the shackle with the nuts. Okay, now you want to snug these U-bolt nuts up, but don't fully tighten them just yet. Now we're going to do everything that we just did on the passenger side. Okay, both add leaves are now installed. We can reinstall the shocks now using the factory hardware. Then you're going to torque this nut and bolt to 70 foot-pounds. Install the other shock as well. Okay, we have the shocks and leaf springs all in place. Now we can remove our support from the differential. We're now going to reattach this brake line bracket on top of the frame. Then the parking brake brackets. The kit does come with these leaf spring retainers that we can install. Install them towards the end of the leaf that you just installed. Compress the retainer with a C-clamp. Then we're going to bend these metal tabs over. Repeat the same process for the other retainers. All right, we have everything together right now. What we're gonna do is install the wheels, put the truck on the ground, bounce on the rear end a little bit to make everything settle, and then we're gonna torque the U-bolts to 90 foot-pounds. Okay, once you bounce on the rear of the truck and settle the suspension, you can go underneath and torque the U-bolts to 90 foot-pounds, and then you're done. Okay, we have our add-a-leaf kit complete. Now, as you can see, our ride height is now 38.5 inches. That's 2 inches higher than before, but it's probably gonna settle out to be about 38 inches to give this thing about 1.5 inches lift. Okay, we got our Zone Offroad add-a-leaf kit installed in this 2004 Silverado. It's gonna be the same process for the 99 to 2018 Silverado. It's definitely gonna make this thing a lot better at towing and hauling, and it gave it about a 2-inch lift right now, but it's probably gonna settle out to be about 1.5 inches. If this isn't your first time doing it, I'd give yourself 3 to 4 hours to do it, and before you know it, you'll be heading off-road.